An industry that feeds you is an industry worth fighting for. Tierra Kessler. This industry that I'm referring to is the boundless art of agriculture. According to the Oxford Dictionary, agriculture is a science or practice of farming, including cultivation of the soil for the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool, and other products. Simply put, agriculture is the growing of crops and the rearing of livestock. I am Elyseia Brown, a criminal justice major at Monroe College, minoring in psychology. I am from the tropically timbered island of Jamaica, where the farming industry is the most lucrative income earner after tourism. The agricultural sector has, however, been continuously disturbed by predial thieves, which has resulted in the sector declining. Accordingly, my paper was inspired as I was curious as to why this problem is so far-flung and what the United States does as a country to prevent this problem of predial larceny, which Jamaica still struggles to eradicate. This presentation will educate you about predial larceny, the struggles small-scale companies encounter in mitigating this challenge, the justice system's effort to fight for these farmers, and solutions to this heinous act. Now, what exactly is predial larceny? Well, the Jamaica Information Service defines predial larceny as the theft of agricultural produce or livestock from a farmer estate, and it is one of the most difficult crimes that regional governments battle to eradicate. Predial larceny is one of the greatest deterrents to agricultural investments, and it is found to cost farmers between 7 billion Jamaican dollars each year, which is approximately 47 million US dollars. Agricultural producers such as crop, livestock farmers, and marine fishers experience serious losses and become reluctant in investing and expanding their enterprise. For decades, agriculture has been associated with the production of essential food crops. However, recently, agriculture includes forestry, dairy, fruit cultivation, poultry, and beekeeping. The Caribbean is not the only place that benefits from farming, as America's farmers and ranchers make an important contribution to the US economy by ensuring a safe and reliable food supply, improving energy security, and supporting job growth and economic development. In addition to providing food and raw material, agriculture also provides employment opportunities to a very large percentage of the population. At this point, if you're still questioning how this affects you and how important agriculture is, allow me the pleasure of enlightening you. Now, this topic may sound like simple cases of stealing. However, I hope you realize that predial larceny affects all of us, even if we do not realize it. Predial larceny contributes to a decrease in food supply, in food sustainability, world hunger, and the rise in crime rates. The American Farm Bureau, let me show you here, it shows that one US farm feeds 166 people annually, both in the United States and abroad. The agricultural sector, however, extends beyond the farming business to include a range of farm-related industries. The largest of these are food service and food manufacturing. This is often overlooked, but the global population is expected to increase by 2.2 billion by 2050, which means that the world's farmers will have to grow about 70% more food than what is now produced. US farms range from very small retirement and residential farms to businesses with sales in the millions of dollars. The US Department of Agriculture states that family farms remain an essential feature of agriculture in the United States. These farms make up 99% of America's 2.1 million farms and 89% of agricultural production. Now, for the impact of predial larceny. How does predial larceny interrupt this production and distribution? Predial larceny robs legitimate producers, stifles incentives for farming, entrepreneurs, and adversely affects the poor. Agriculture is the basic industry of Jamaica. As the island possesses a wide variety of soil and climate, nearly every tropical product can be grown there. The chief economic crops are sugar, banana, citrus, cocoa, and coconuts. Sugar, which has been produced in Jamaica for centuries, is the nation's dominant agricultural export. In addition to legal agricultural production, Jamaica is also a major producer of marijuana, known locally as ganja, which contributes to a great deal of money to the informal economy. Agricultural producers in the Caribbean, production in the Caribbean rather, is being threatened by many factors such as decreasing availability of fertile land, climate change effects such as flooding and drought, labor shortages, and competition from importers. Envision these already horrendous problems that farmers have to deal with. Then here comes predial larceny like a thief in the night, literally making matters worse. One of the main reasons why this threat of predial larceny is so important is that it is very hard to prove. If indeed the perpetrators are caught and prosecuted successfully, the penalty is practically negligible. While the solution calls on food producers to take several actions to mitigate the losses to predial larceny, the primary responsibility is with government-led actions in the areas of modernized policies, updated laws, and enhanced enforcement efforts by the justice system. Theft from farms, also known as predial larceny, is a huge problem, especially in the Caribbean. There are cases in Trinidad and Tobago where 11.3 million is found to be lost over a 6-month period. Jamaica, where 55 million is lost over a 1-year period. Belize losing 300,000 annually. St. Vincent 2.3 million annually. And the Bahamas losing 16 million from the marine industry. As a result of these constant attacks from organized criminal gangs, farmers have been forced out of businesses and aquaculture operations have closed. Now on to some cases. Women farmers in Jamaica are reporting that predial larceny is disproportionately affecting women's security, although most farmers in Jamaica are men. The International Labour Organization reported in 2018 that 9% of Jamaica's working women are farmers, while the working men accumulate 25% of the population. Imagine the elderly woman in this percentage working tirelessly. Then here comes the larcenist, robbing them of their hard work. This is a photograph of a St. Elizabeth farmer by the name of Monica Findlay, tending to her chickens. She has reported that predial larcenists have decimated her livestock, and this forced her to give up on rearing goats. She had around 30 goats on her farm, but thieves have targeted her so much that she decided against raising any more. Goats were not the only thing fleeced from her farm, as her pigs were also stolen when she and her family went to church one morning. She reported to the Jamaica Gleaner. The Sunday morning, we went to church and came back, and 8 big pigs gone, leave 1 little one. When we went to feed them, we saw what had happened. She made a very important point to the reporters that there might be a misconception that predial larceny isn't happening on a grand scale. This is because the farmers have been absorbing it, and many of them just give up on farming. The Jamaica Information Service broadcasted that the Honorable J.C. Hutchinson, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries, is calling on people to report predial larceny cases that they witness or are a victim of so the scourge can be limited. Data retrieved prove that 45% of predial larceny cases are unreported. In a virtual town hall meeting in June of last year, he stated, I want to encourage more farmers and other stakeholders in agriculture to come forward and make reports to the police. It is the only way we can fight back against the criminals. But what if these criminals that he speaks of are our own officers? Isn't it expected that the justice system would be fighting the farmers' fight rather than being a part of the problem? Well, I met up on an alarming case in the No Grenada News where a police officer was charged with predial larceny in February of last year. Just wow. This officer is Sergeant Kester Young from St. Patrick, Grenada, who was caught stealing nutmegs and plantains from a farmer's land. He was placed on a $7,500 bail and was suspended from the Royal Grenada Police Force with half a month's salary. Young entered the land without permission from the owner. The latest news holds that if Young is convicted of the offense, it is very likely that he will be dismissed from the police force. Despite this unfortunate police situation, it is good to note that the Jamaica Defense Force is still working profusely to eliminate these cases. A deputy superintendent by the name of Fitzroy Williams, in a conversation with the Gleaner, stated that agricultural theft on a whole is a bitter concern to us. And that is why we make our continuous raids as well as visits to the market and other areas where persons are selling and have them produce legitimate documents. We're positioning ourselves to get back St. Thomas to the point where no one wants to think of coming into the parish and depriving others of what they have worked hard to produce. Additionally, the Trelawney Police have established a predial larceny unit as the parish has a high number of predial larceny incidents yearly where both crop and livestock farmers are affected. The goal of this unit is to appoint agricultural wardens to help farmers to prevent theft from their farms. The punishment or justice and farmer retaliation. The perpetrators are bold and they are rarely caught. Several governmental agencies have addressed the problem, but actions have been taken slow effect, and it is mostly reactive. Additionally, when it comes to predial larceny legislation, the punishment is a slap on the wrist. And I believe that this is not enough to stop this heinous act. The fines must be heightened, and the criminal justice system should put more effort into finding the culprits. With that said, I'm urging the farmers to install effective fencing and keep farm buildings and pathways well lit. Be aware of unknown vehicles and trespassers on the farm or hire security personnel. Do not be afraid or discouraged to report these cases. In the event that the farmers are unable to source these resources, some governmental support will be necessary. To this end, I encourage the government to impose as much assistance possible, as it is imperative that this problem is taken seriously by the authorities. I hope the government ensures punishment for the offenders. To the consumers, know that buying these stolen products is a bad idea. Some farmers have even said that they would poison their fruit if it were just going to be stolen. To be frank, without quick action, no matter what course is taken, permanent harm will come to this fragile economy, agriculture. I need your assistance in keeping the wider public aware, and I urge a positive change. Let us be a hero for farmers across the world. Fight for them by delivering justice and ensuring that the farmers reap what they grow. And most importantly, ensuring that the perpetrators reap their just reward. Thank you.